Hey there, and welcome to Be the CEO of Your Life podcast. I'm your host, Olga Lacroix, a mom, a former therapist, a certified coach, and a mindfulness teacher. I am here to share valuable tips and insights for all of you mothers and busy women out there. Why? My goal to help you take care of your mental well-being without sacrificing your life of accomplishments. Whether you are juggling family, career, or personal growth, this podcast is your go-to resource for becoming the best version of yourself. Let's dive in and start mastering the art of balance together. Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome. I want to talk to you today about worry. All right, raise your hand if you have worried over the last 5 days. Raise your hand if you have worried over the last hour. Raise your hand if worry is the thing that you want to get rid of. Was your hand up the entire time? I hear you. Okay, so welcome to this episode. I am taking a quick break from the leadership talk that I've been, a series that I've been having, although this applies so much if you are leading people who have anxiety and constant worry. You want to hear this. If you are a leader who's constantly worrying and spending a lot of your beautiful, productive energy on worry mode, you want to listen to this episode. And if you're not a leader, and if you're not somebody who worries, but you're around people who worry, this is for you, okay? I am very passionate about this subject, and I am excited, honestly, to talk to you about the 5 myths behind worry. Okay. All right, let's dive in. First of all, I want you to be reminded that I am a social worker, a clinical social worker. So I've worked for many years in the field as a therapist, and I have worked with a variety of populations, and a lot of them with high intensity mental health needs, from youth to parents with severe issues to addictions to just regular human beings with anxiety and depression to grief to postpartum depressive humans, moms, to executives. I've worked with everybody and I love it. I love that my brain has been exposed to so many different aspects of humanity as a witness, as a mirror. And then I have my fair share of personal life experiences that have exposed me firsthand to these 5 myths that I have had. In fact, I was raised with some of these myths as the law, the thing that we do for others. And I think once you start listening to me describe them, you're going to say, oh yeah, my mom taught me that too. Some of them were taught to us. So why am I giving you that background? Because what I am about to share are these 5 myths come from research. So in Canada specifically, the psychological community, the psychologists have done a lot of research on worry specifically, and great research has come out of it. And so part of my clinical supervisors and mentors, all of them have been psychologists, clinical psychologists. They've provided me with a lot of training and resources. And what I'm about to share with you are things that I've learned along my clinical supervisions. And as I was pulling out all my files from way back then, I've realized like this is such a great subject to bring to light, even if you're not a therapist or a coach or a service provider providing mental health. Like everybody, this information belongs to everybody. I think we're better prepared to handle our own well-being, mental and physically, with more information. So you're welcome. You don't have to go years of studying and or get through the scrutiny of having a clinical supervisor going over all of the things that you do to get to this information. I'm now doing it for you. So the myths about worry. Okay, but before that, I wanted to read. Oh, do I have it? I don't have it. Okay, never mind. Let's dive in. Okay, so how many of you have actively worked on worrying a little bit less? How many of you had people tell you, man, you worry too much? Why don't you just relax for a little bit? And you truly want to relax a little bit and you truly want to not worry, like you don't feel that you're lining up there, raising your hand, please, please, I want to worry. You really feel that deep inside you would love to have no worry, but it feels like it's greater than you. It feels like it takes over. Yes? All right. So we wanted to explore in the mental health field what makes people so attached to worry. I want you to know, I explain this to my clients all the time. They're like, I don't know why I worry. I don't know why I do this. Insert unhealthy behavior, insert self-sabotage, something that is just not helpful. And they recognize it's not helpful. I wish I didn't do it. And yet I do it. And I don't know why. I always tell my clients, get curious because your brain never does anything without a purpose. So although it's maladaptive, although it's not serving you, you're doing it for a reason. So in coaching sessions, we get curious to find out what's behind the behavior. Really, what's motivating that attachment to the behavior? For example, in a few coaching sessions over the last few weeks, I coach a client who, I think I've mentioned this in a previous episode, was fantasizing about like leaving her family and on vacation. And then the fear was like, oh my God, what if I never come back? When we talked about that fantasy, what was behind the fantasy, she recognized that she was an exhausted mom, right? So not at all what she thought it was about. It was tiredness. It's a mom who needs to rest. And is thinking like, yeah, vacation sounds great. And yes, I might never want to come back because I need it so badly. I had another client who kept talking about like, I'm always in a rush. I can never be present. I'm always in a rush. That's the behavior. And they're like, I'm trying to calm down and I can't. I'm trying to slow down and I can't. When we got curious in a coaching session to uncover what was behind the behavior, we found feelings and emotions. And so his hesitation to being present or in the moment was to perhaps feel inadequate. And so he was constantly wanting to do to not feel inadequate. I had another client who said, I'm exhausted, but I can't stop working. I'm just, I need to go for a walk. So I'm trying to bring all the women to go for walks. I want to go on a retreat, but I haven't found somebody who wants to go on a retreat with me. And so we got curious about what's behind that behavior that everybody must go with you, that it must be work related. And there you have it. She says, wow, if it's not work related, if I am the only reason I'm doing this, then it's not valid. So why am I telling these little stories? Because we never attach to a behavior that's unhealthy without unconsciously, at the very least, having like a good reason. So never just stay with like, why do I do this blamefully? But get curious. I wonder what's behind the smoking. I wonder what's behind the overeating. That's another client. She says, every time I'm stressed, I overeat and I want to stop that behavior. I'm like, and she has done everything to stop the behavior to not success. So I said to her, okay, let's try something different. What's the feeling? What's behind that? And she was like, well, obviously I don't want to feel the stress. So it's like, I'm distracting. I'm like, yes, but what's the feeling you're distracting yourself from? Imperfection. Somehow being stressed is a sign of imperfection. And so she realized that what she needed was to give herself self-love and to talk to her younger self who never quite was validated. And she just needed to give herself validation. So clearly the brain kept bringing her to overeating as a form of filling a gap that felt nourished. She actually said it's nourishing. I'm like, wow, what else can you do that's nourishing, right? Anyways, so let's talk about the maladaptive beliefs about worry. The first one is a belief. So the myth is that worry shows that I am a caring person. Raise your hand. How many of our moms didn't say, I worry because I love you, when we're like, Mom, stop worrying about me. I went to the party and I came back, I'm fine. Anybody had a helicopter mother? I grew up in Colombia. I give her all the reason to have been a helicopter mother. But I actually remember my mom telling me, because I care, I worry. I also remember my mom saying, like, oh my God, we have to, like, she didn't say we have to worry about them, but we have to think about them and think of all the things in which this is affecting them and how bad it must be. So guess what? I will worry naturally, right? Like, we're thinking of all the bad things that family was going through. So we have the maladaptive perception that worry shows we're caring. Think about it. Somebody is sick and you didn't worry about it, didn't show any signs of worry. Not that you didn't care. Show signs of not worry. Are people not going to ask you? People are going to be like, hey, what's happening here? You good? You have feelings? Are you even human? So we have that perception that worry equals caring. I recently was exposed to a person telling a life story, and it didn't move fibers in my heart. It really didn't. I didn't cry. Everybody else in the group cried. So after a day or two after, the person who had organized this, like, direct asked me, hey, did you like that talk? And I was like, yeah, I found it fascinating. Well, you didn't seem like shaken up. I'm like, I've heard horrible stories. I've lived horrible stories. It takes a different kind of story for me to be shaken up. But that particular story, it didn't do it for me. And it's not that I didn't care or held this human in so much compassion and felt deep feelings, just not the feelings that would cause a physical reaction. So, I urge you to think about this belief that you might think, because I worry about my family, it proves that I love and care about them. Or people know me as a warrior. I am the one who worries and cares for people. I am here to challenge that thought. That is a myth. You can be deeply caring, deeply loving, and you don't need worry to come along. Think about it. And I actually wanted to take a step that further and think about what would look like to show up to my family, say, I think to my child. Like, I had to practice this yesterday. He was doing something scary for me as a mom to watch. He went up a tower that was quite high, and there were older kids around, much older than him. My son is 4, and this is really high. Like, my neck, like my head was all the way back to my back so that I could see him. And it is a play structure, by the way. So I didn't just bring him to any random tower. And these kids were being rough around him, not with him, around him, like playful, but they were like way older, 10, 13, I don't know. And I could tell my son was like distracted, and I'm like, pay attention, please. And I could tell he was somewhat scared because these kids were loud and like screaming. My mama heart wanted to get up there and just grab my kid and tell those children, relax, there is a 4-year-old here. I did none of those things, but I tell you why. My husband was right next to me, and he was like, this is how he learns. You have to sit here and breathe. Like, yes, but I care. You don't think my husband cares? He does. He probably cares so deeply that he doesn't want to spoil that learning experience for my son, who, by the way, came down the slide, no problem. Okay. So I could have experienced that same event without worry. I could have just watched my son, be aware, this is scary for me, read through it, and not bring that worry forward. Choosing that I can be caring and loving and yet not interfere with worry. I hope this one brings it home to you. You can be a caring leader, you can be a caring parent, caring child, sister, brother, and not worry about them. You can just trust. All right. The second belief that is a myth. Worrying helps me be prepared and problem solve. So worry will be the equivalent of calling CAA, which is, for those of you who are not in North America, it's a emergency system. What do you call that? Emergency service that comes to take your car if you got a flat tire, if something like goes off with your car, you can't drive it. Most of us pay for that service, and we can call them anytime, and they come and they problem solve for you and your vehicle at any time, 24/7, anywhere you are. Worrying, like believing that worry helps you be prepared and to problem solve, is like calling CAA and tell them, I suspect in the future I might have a flat tire. Can you come help me? They will laugh. You will probably laugh if I give it to you as like in this literal example. Because what? What? How does that add to two? Like, no. We can't problem solve for a problem we don't have. Period. We can be prepared for things we don't know are going to happen. Even if you sit down there and think of all the things that can happen, you have no clue what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. So worrying does not help you. The examples of this belief include, I do well at my job because I worry about the things getting done right. And when I worry about my problems, I am more likely to solve them well. You are a problem solver by nature. You need to worry about your job to do a good job. You can just have integrity and high values towards doing a good job, and you don't need worry to come with you. Make sense? The third myth is that worrying motivates you. God, I hear this one every day. If I don't worry about my weight, I won't go to the gym. Worrying about my job motivates me to do it well. If I didn't worry about my health, I'll never go to the gym or eat right. How about you say, I want to be healthy, so I make all these choices without worry. I nourish my body with foods. It's a decision I make, and it doesn't have to be fueled by worry or fear, but love for my body. I can choose to be the best coach I can be, as I do, without worry. I need to think, oh my God, if I'm not the best, they're going to fire me. No, I am the best. I love what I'm doing. That's it. So we can choose to do the things that we want to do without pressuring ourselves with the shoulds and the worry. Okay, so number 4, the myth is that worry protects us from negative emotions. I also hear this so much. What do you say? Worry is a negative emotion? So how does that equation work? If you believe this, then you probably think that worrying about bad things is like money in the bank. That is, you worry about bad things now, you won't be so upset if that bad thing actually happens. Like if I worry now about my mom passing away one day, maybe when she passes away, it won't hurt. We actually carry those beliefs, guys. It's crazy, but we do. If I worry about all the things that can go wrong, when they do in fact go wrong, if they go wrong, it's not going to stink so much. I've worked with people in grief, and I tell them, if I had told you 3 years ago this was going to happen, could you have been prepared? They're like, no. Would it have hurt less? No. An example I can give you right now, you might be able to relate, especially for those of you who live in North America. And our pets are so dearly loved by us. When we get a dog, we know the life expectancy. Like my dog who passed away last year, we knew his life expectancy was 10 years max because he's a large dog. And last year we celebrated his 9th birthday and he passed away. I had known for a long time the life expectancy. And I tell you, it did not make a damn difference for how much pain I was in when I lost him. I still get watery eyes. It still hurts. So painful life events are going to happen regardless. Why? Because we're alive. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. And adding worry is the option that you're adding to the thing that is happening. Okay. So nothing can protect you from your own emotions, and nobody needs protection from their emotions. We came with everything we need as humans to feel our emotions and be informed by our emotions. So if something bad happened to my family and I didn't worry about it, it will come as a surprise and I wouldn't be able to handle it. Most bad things come as a surprise, by the way, and we have handled them. The fact that you're here, I promise you, everything bad that has happened to you, think about it. Did you have time to prepare? Were you ready for it? No. Trust that you can handle it. And if you cannot, or you like, if it's a legal battle, you're not a lawyer, we trust that you will find the people. If it's a medical condition, trust that you will find the people. Okay. That's what I have to say about worrying protecting you from anything. Worry does not protect you. It makes you weak, makes you be in additional suffering. Lastly, worrying prevents bad things from happening. Again, are you a superhero who can see the future, fortune teller, and somehow worry is the magic portion that stops something from happening? Absolutely not. If you have this belief, you might think, I always do well at my job because I worry about it. If I stop worrying for a day, I will do very badly at my job. Or if I worry about my family being in a car accident, then they won't be in one. I think that the answer to all of these myths is that you gotta become a believer. In what? In trust. You really have to give in to trust. Trust is the basis of love. Trust will give you confidence. Trust will keep you so present. It is one of the 7 principles of mindfulness for a great reason. Keeps you right here, right now. I'll worry about that later. We'll cross that bridge when we have to. So my beautiful friends, if you spend a lot of time in worrying, this is why, because you carry one or all of these limiting beliefs. I hope understanding them allows you to have a new perspective towards why you do it, have more compassion. Think like, okay, makes sense, brain, thank you. But remember that you can have a conversation with your brain and say, I hear you. I know you want to worry about this, but that isn't helpful. In fact, I'm choosing to do a good job without worry. Like it will be a far more pleasant experience. These are the type of stuff that I teach inside Reset Your Mindset, and that we go out and practice. And then you go out and practice, you fail, you have experiences, you come back to the calls week by week, and we continue to build on these abilities, these skills, because it takes a while to break these habits. These are habits. These are not different than a person who's a smoker and is used to that nicotine shot. You're used to that worry shot, because believe it or not, it still gives you endorphins. Happy hormones, the same hormones that you get when you exercise, when you have sex, when you eat sugar. Worry gives you the same kind of hormones. And so it becomes addictive. So I want you to know that changing this is possible, but it will require time and effort and repetition. And it is far easier to do with a coach. I can tell you that myself, because that's what's made it easier for me to apply it for myself. And I love coaching on this. My greatest goal is to have people live with a lot less worry, to be more present and more fulfilled in their day-to-day. All right, I'm speaking to you from the heart, because I truly believe this is possible and accessible to all of you. I hope this motivates you to find a coach to come join me inside Reset Your Mindset. We get started on May 10th. You still have plenty of time. We have payment plans. Like, just get rid of all the excuses. It is so beautiful to be able to live a life worry-free and change the generations to come, because now we have that awareness. From my heart to yours, thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you guys next week. Ciao, ciao.